Sahana vavatu, Sahano bhunaktu, Sahaviryankaravavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Apaishunam, absence of slander or gossip. Have you ever felt like gossip? You know how gossip feels like winning? It feels like you're gossiping, and it feels like, it feels good, like I'm gossiping. But then afterwards, there's a horrible aftertaste. Felt that? That horrible aftertaste is your conscience telling you, you just drank poison. Gossip poisons your mind. Absence of slander or defamation or abuse, because it is in your interest to keep your mind poison-free. We even have a situation where someone has power over you, and then you keep silent. But the moment you have more power, right, you rise to glory, what happens? Then the slander comes out. So that's unhealthy. So this means it was only suppressed under the condition that I had to, keep quiet. So this means now I've got power. Now they're more comfortable with me. Now they start to take me for granted. What happens? It starts to come out slowly, slowly. Now the way to work with this is we call it flipping the script. Whenever you feel like gossiping about someone that you don't know, then it's very simple. It's almost like unrolling a panorama of display of their good qualities. You just unroll this carpet and you see in front of you 3 good qualities about them. And this is important because it prevents you from seeing them as all bad. This is the danger with gossip, is we tend to say something and it makes this person now all bad, when in reality a person has so many good things, good qualities about them that we don't see. So it's not fair to say something about someone or something based on a very few pieces of information that we have about them, whether of other students, whether of teachers. The fact is that person that you may be gossiping about, they are a savior to somebody else. So another thing we can do is pray for them, because if my mind cannot just keep quiet, then at least it can start to pray for them and say, may they be blessed, because like me, they're just trying to find a way to be happy. Like me, they're just attempting to find make sense of this world. Just like me, they know pain. Just like me, they know confusion. Just like me, they know how to give of themselves. Just like me, they know how to love. Just like me, they know what suffering means. And just like me, they want a way out. This is a nice exercise to connect, that they are not different from you after all. Daya, compassion or empathy. Suppose your hair caught on fire right now. Would you put it out? Why? It's just hair. It's going to grow back. You would put it out, all right? Because you got compassion for something that is inert. You got empathy. Compassion, you're acting upon something that you care about. That is what compassion is for somebody else. You see somebody on fire, in pain, and there's a natural tendency, that's a healthy human heart, to want to reach out. Hey, are you okay? What can I do for you? And this makes you a stronger person, because every time you listen to your inner guide, that empathy, that feeling somebody else's pain, And sometimes it's not just about reaching out, but just at least sensing something is going on. That is a mark of purity, to be able to sense somebody else's pain and to also enjoy somebody else's joy rather than being jealous. Oh, they're happy, I'm not. Okay? Empathy is, if you're happy, if I go to a wedding, okay? So this is what happens when we go to a wedding. You know, everyone's happy. And now I'm at the wedding and I'm looking who's wearing what clothes, who's out of fashion, who's in fashion, you know, what are they talking about? They're not, they're not in fashion. So in other words, now I'm just judging. I'm just kind of going around and I'm putting people down in my mind so that I can feel good. And they're having a good time. They're getting married. And I'm feeling jealous. So empathy is the ability to see somebody else's happiness, and it induces happiness in your own heart. It's to see somebody else's pain, and it triggers pain to help. A natural human program that gets suppressed by our own conditions, such as we say things like, this is their karma. Why should I interfere? Next, bhuteshu aloluptvam, absence of longing. Absence of longing, this is saying without this, I'm incomplete. In other words, you tie your happiness to an object, but that object was not there some time ago, and now in its presence, I learn to depend upon it for my happiness, and now it's tied deeply to my sense of fullness. So now I say, I need it. And here it says, bhuteshu aloluptvam, absence, the ability to be okay without the presence of this object. The ability not to make yourself and reduce yourself to the size of this object. As I kept saying several times now, an object is okay. There's nothing wrong with objects, by the way. It only becomes a potential issue is when I reduce myself to the size of that object and I say, I need you. Remember, you're always bigger than the object. No object can ever be bigger than you. The moment an object becomes bigger than you, you lose sight. When we lose sight, then we start to act out of fear. Now I want to keep them out of fear, out of my own fear. So then I start to play manipulation games. What is the value of this object? What is the value of a golden watch? Tells the time. Where do you lose the value of a golden watch? Next one, mardavam, softness, being gentle. So it's not just being nice, but it's a mind that is free from rigidity. For instance, sometimes instead of reacting when somebody criticizes us, we simply ask for more information. What do you mean by this? I really want to learn. That's called softness. Rigidity is, how dare you tell me? Right? So there's this rigid, and this becomes more and more rigid as the brain becomes more and more older. So this is especially important as we age. Softness, a certain ability to open myself up and be curious like a child. Just having some space, some ability to say, instead of what, into, hey, so what now? Hrihi. This is humility or modesty. In other words, not showing off. We have 3 types of I sense. When we say I, there's what's called a low I, a medium I, there's a low kind of, deflated ego, a natural healthy ego, and an overinflated ego. Now, when we have a low sense of self, maybe a better word is sense of self. When we have a low sense of self, then what happens is we constantly seek validation secretly from others. Seeking validation. Who's going to look at me? Who's going to talk to me? How am I going to, be seen as somebody today? This potentially indicates that there is something to right, work with. That means I'm not thinking about contributing, I'm thinking about my own kind of inadequacies. When we have a high I sense, then we're not able to see other people's strengths because we establish ourselves in a very high position. So this means if one wants to connect, I should be able to see your strengths. To see your strength, I should have a healthy kind of I sense. What is a healthy I sense? What is a healthy I sense for you?
I know about my strong points and I can accept my weaknesses.
I know about my strong points and I gladly share them, and I'm also okay with my weaknesses because that is part of human experience. So there's no real higher position if you think about it. Everyone is contributing to the system. One of the healthiest ways to maintain a healthy self-image is to recognize that every gift that I have is not mine. It is borrowed from others. Everything that I know, the person that I am right now, it is a contribution of so many beings, my parents, friends, gurus, teachers, students, colleagues. I am totally on borrowed skills and borrowed time here. Nothing is truly mine. So I can't really claim ownership of it. Rather, I am entrusted this strength, and while being entrusted for a short amount of time, let me give it in the healthiest manner that I can. I am entrusted with these skills. Now let me give it back. Because you and I are here because of those generations before us. They have worked hard. They contributed their time, money, and effort. And because of them, you and I are getting to sit here listening about this knowledge. Therefore, your skills are a blessing. You're blessed with your skills. And because you're blessed, thus I use them wisely. Achapalam, absence of physical agitation. So we're not talking about here forced stillness. Just be still and force yourself to be still. This is unnatural. What we're talking about is a natural poise. What is a natural poise? What does it mean to be at ease? Like your physical body is at ease. Okay, here's a different question. Have you ever noticed yourself listening and your leg is shaking? Or you're fidgeting? Whenever there's a physical agitation, often we see legs, I'm not here, I've never seen a leg shake here, but when I go elsewhere, right, I'll see legs shaking. Or, some, and you notice it, it's like, stop, because then it passes into your own mind and it just becomes agitating. It's good practice, to remain firm. Okay, you do your shake. So whenever there's an agitation, we call this a energy leakage. Your energy is leaking through the body. But what's really happening is not only is your energy being spent, but it's an indicator you're resisting something right now. Right now, something is being said or shown that the mind is resisting, and that resistance, very subtle, shows through physical expression. Even to rest your hands and one finger to go up and down, right? That also shows something's going on in the mind. I'm not quite at ease in this moment. So your physical body gives away your inner story. In that sense, you can use your physical body to let you know, hey, take a deep breath, damaha, relax. Because the more that energy leaks, the more you take away concentration from the mind. It's almost like CPU power, an extra background process on your computer. It takes about 10% of CPU. Clenched jaw. That's another indicator of some inner resistance that's going on. That's why sometimes, actually there was some scientific studies done. If you want to, before learning, yawn. And it's good before studying. You do one little yawn and then, go ahead. Just make sure others don't see you. You'll be like bored. Next one, tejaha. Tejaha is brilliance. What is brilliance? Is it just brilliance in intellect, or is it both intellect and emotions? It has to be both. It always has to be both. Did you ever ask what makes up a brilliant person? There are 4 pillars according to Vedanta. The first one is logical discernment. That means you're able to use your mind. It's called critical thinking, viveka. What is to be done and what is not to be done, and what is the consequences of doing it. Viveka in reference to what? What lifts me up and what drains me. Do you know what kind of foods drain you? What kind of movies drain you? What kind of YouTube clips drain you? What kind of clips uplift you? What kind of environment uplifts you? What uplifts you? What uplifts you? How do you get uplifted? How do you uplift this instrument and keep it uplifted? What makes this instrument composed? And what makes this instrument like out of alignment? Therefore, tejaha, logical discernment in reference to what uplifts me and what drains me. Meditation uplifts me. Aha! Next step, meditation, morning and evening.
But that does not mean I automatically do it.
There's a woman called Mel Robbins in USA, and she wrote a brilliant book about, she had this, she was 40 years old, and she was in the stage of, just losing that spirit of living. I mean, she wanted to live, she had a child, but she just lost that drive, that essence, that I want to live, I want to get up, that happiness of living. And she went through some depression, but then she turned on this channel, and it was NASA launching a rocket. And NASA was going, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off, right? And she watched this, and she found this fascinating. Like, next morning, she woke up. The moment she woke up, she said to herself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she just got out of bed. You think she felt great about that when she got out of bed? No, but she felt, because when you get out of bed like that, when you've been an overnight sleeper, you're not going to feel great. But she felt great soon enough, realizing, you know what? I am never going to feel like it. You will never, ever feel like it. Just do it anyway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. You know why? Because your brain's going to convince you after 5 seconds why you should not. And we all know how true this is. Whether you feel like it or not, just do it. Whether you feel like coming or not, just do it. Feel like learning or not, just do it. So this is what she wrote in her book. And she became one of the most popular, most booked out speakers in USA. People loved her because they want to hear the message. And that's her simple message. Just do it whether you feel like it or not, because you will never feel like it. The next is emotional intelligence. The ability to empathize with the situation, to be sensitive to know what is to be done. In other words, you remain also composed, whether criticized or praised. Because you know that, see, when somebody criticizes or praises you, it has more to do with the other person, less about you. So if someone criticizes you, great. What's the feedback here? If someone praises you, wonderful, but my duty is my duty. My duty is higher than my need for praise. Thus, praise is wonderful, right? We all, it pushes you forward. But emotional intelligence is doing what is to be done, whether I feel like it or not. Number 3, saintliness. Saintliness means wishing well for others. Just being a general well-wisher for people. whoever they are, whether an enemy, whether someone you don't like. Because if you don't wish them well, what is the mind going to do? Yeah, it's going to do everything other than that, right? It's going to do the other side. So in other words, hey, I wish this person well. May they find the strength and the discernment and the strength in themselves. I wish them well. I pray that they release this confusion that they have. So you send them a little prayer. Just like the sun. Sun is like a well-wisher. The sun rays just shine. Imagine this. Suppose the sun didn't allow the criminal to conduct an act of crime. Could a criminal ever learn it is not the right thing to do? No. So the sun just shines. It illumines the criminal's activities. It also illumines the saint's activities. It is a well-wisher for both. It gives the chance for both to grow. Inspiring action. That means your action inspires others. Your action is a gift to others. Your actions uplift others. So what is it something that you do to uplift your environment, others, yourself? How do you do that? And by doing so, by having this tejaha, we enjoy kshama, composure, or equanimity. Composure or equanimity isn't about being non-reactive. Can you be non-reactive? Is it possible? What would make you have equanimity or composure? A dharmic life, good.
Accommodating to the other one.
Okay, accommodating to the other one. Okay, what else? Knowing more about the situation, right? So you can do the right thing and therefore avoid the potential mistakes. It's just another situation. Who attaches the adjective onto a situation? We attach. Big, small. It's just a situation. Therefore, by seeing it as such, you're able to enjoy relative amount of composure, knowing what is to be done. Understanding someone said dharma. In other words, if you understand you can't rub against the order, suppose you go outside a tree and you rub against the tree, right? Scratch, 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 scratch. Who's going to have a scar? I will have a scar. Now I go, hey tree, how dare you punish me? Has the tree really punished me, or I punished myself by the help of the tree? In other words, God doesn't punish us. We make God punish. We make him. We say, God, punish me, please. I'm going to rub against your order. I'm going to scratch and get involved in places where I shouldn't get involved. And then I get hurt. Now, if you're aligned to the order, you don't experience such pain. In that case, you have more composure in life. Natural composure. Less concern. Such as, why me? Why me too? What now? Simple question. From why me, the victim mode. Why me? Why did this happen to me? Why am I unlucky? Why am I going through this? Into this is happening. What now? What is to be done now in this situation? Solution oriented. There are no problems, just situations. What now? And this very what now is called the next quality, drihtihi, which is determination. I'm going to tell you a story here. Okay, so there was a mouse bird, and it lived in a banyan tree. Big, thick banyan tree. And the banyan tree had a hole inside it, so it had a nest inside. But on that banyan tree, there were also other birds around. In fact, this banyan tree was nearby many wildlife, and so there were a lot of birds and monkeys around. And one day, the bird, the name of the bird was Chitranetra. That was the name of the bird, Chitranetra. And it looked outside its nest, and it saw a shiny necklace glimmering through the waters of a nearby lake. And it said, I guess a wary traveler dropped it. A wealthy traveler dropped it. And it's just glimmering in the waters. I'm going to go and get it. And it was a shallow water, so it could still reach its beak down and try to pick up the chain. But as it did, it couldn't, because it was mouse birds are small. This was a heavy chain. So it thought, I really want this chain. I want to bring it up to my nest and secure my nest with it, because I can really keep my nest firm. So it decided to start breaking with its beak the links. And it took forever. It took such a long time to keep on breaking one link after another. And other birds and turtles and, other eagles, they saw, what is this guy doing? He's just coming here for day after day for month after month, just breaking these links, and it's just nothing's happening. And then the turtle comes over, supposed to be a wise turtle, and says, hey, dear mouse bird, I've been observing, I'm really concerned. This is not for you. Give up. This is not for you. Your thing is somewhere else. Go. And the mouse bird said, what seems impossible becomes possible with determination. And then the turtle went away. And then another mouse bird, a nearby family, comes by. And they start to insult, oh, you fool, you don't know what you're doing, you're wasting your time, you should go to college, you should go and do this. You're never going to succeed. Give up. You shouldn't be doing this. Give up now. And the mouse bird replied, what seems impossible becomes possible through determination. And the birds and other animals just kept on insulting this mouse bird because it kept working through monsoon and weather and heat and wind. Finally, after 1 year, it succeeded by taking the final link and securing its nest in the banyan tree. Now its nest was secure. Just as it secured its nest, a wild storm came nearby, and it blew the nests of all nearby birds. Now they had nowhere to live, so they had to go back to none other than the mouse bird's nest and say, oh, please let us in. We are shelterless. We have nothing to secure ourselves. Now all of those who didn't believe in this mouse bird suddenly needed help. And they said to the mouse bird, teach us your wisdom. How come you're so wise? And the mouse bird said, what seems impossible becomes possible through determination. And the rest of them were like, wow, this is the greatest wisdom. Now let's start looking for links and chains. Okay? So anything that seems initially hard, you can with determination. You can, that is a fact. So what is it that you want? Take a note of that. Determination, be like this small mouse bird, and you will get it. And it's worth the wait. It's worth the while, because the person that you become is far greater than the failures that you experience. The person that you become, getting it, and the resilience that we develop is far greater than the mini disappointments that we enjoy or don't enjoy throughout the journey. I once heard, when I was 17, I heard this man called Jim Rohn. I was into personal development, and I love this stuff. And Jim Rohn said, to become a millionaire, it's not about becoming a millionaire. That's not the real joy. The joy is the person that you become, the kind of effort that you put, the kind of way that you apply yourself in becoming a millionaire that really becomes worthwhile being a millionaire. And I thought, this is amazing advice. It is the journey, the person that you sculpt yourself with, that you become, that is worthwhile the determination to get something. That's why failure is not really even a concern. It is what you become in your attempt to gain that which matters to you. Shaucham, cleanliness. And there are two kinds of cleanliness. External. If your house is a mess, your room's a mess, it doesn't smell nice, it's not a pleasant place to come into, it affects what? Your state of mind, inevitably. So this means, what kind of a place would I have to have that is inviting, that is fresh, that encourages learning, that is like a place in which I go in and it just makes me want to, sit down and concentrate, do whatever needs to be done, external. And then we have internal. And internal cleanliness has 4 components. The first one is self-centeredness. Who is the center of your life? I am, right? That is a fact for everyone. There's no such thing as putting someone else up. We may say that, I'm putting you above me, but I'm only putting you above me because I enjoy doing that. So it becomes about me enjoying doing what I claim. So everyone, you are the center of your life. This is the first thing to understand. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. When it becomes distorted is when that narrative turns into, I am the center of my life, and thus I step on other people's toes. I start to disregard the well-being of others because I'm the center of my life. That becomes unhealthy. The healthy version is, while being the center of my life, I do not disregard the well-being of others. Resentment. What is resentment? How does resentment build? How does resentment come towards someone or something? What internal process is going on that's making you resent that situation or event? What are you doing in your head in that moment? Blaming. Good. Okay.
They don't live up to my expectations, and I keep holding on to that.
Okay. So you keep on holding to your expectations. They should have done this. They didn't. And you're rigid about that. Resentment is looking at one aspect about that person, forgetting that they are much more than what they're showing you. In other words, you're refusing to let go of the story. See, every time we revisit the story, we water it. It's almost like, yeah, let me talk about this. That's fine, you talk about it. But to keep on talking about it over and over, because sometimes talking about one story becomes a means to connect to somebody else. Hey, this is giving me connection, so let me just mention my problems and I will connect. But the expense of that is we develop an imprint of that story. So sometimes it's time to just let go of that story that loves to keep coming back. Now, one way that I found for me, and I'll ask for your version, this was for me a big thing personally, just the story just keeps on coming back. And I'm like, look, I've tried like over 200 techniques, the story still keeps on coming back. And the only thing that worked for me, that works guaranteed, is I just tell my mind like a pet, today, you have no right to enter my mind today. I say that like talking to a pet. Nope. By my command, you have no right to enter my temple today. My mind is a temple. When somebody enters your house, you're the guardian, aren't you? You say, you stay out, you come in. So I see my thought of whatever that story is as just someone that's trying to get in who's not invited in my temple called the mind. Stay out. Works so well. You just hold it. Okay. See, also one other thing is that sometimes when somebody hurts us, what we do is we build an emotional wall because they hurt us. And we develop this kind of a shield. So we deny ourselves now connecting to somebody else who wants to enter into our lives because we haven't let go of this emotional wall. Sometimes we need to look, am I holding emotional walls in reference to connecting to others? Am I holding any emotional walls to protect myself because I've been hurt in the past? The next is self-criticism. This is number 3 of internal. So here we have self-centeredness. 2, we have resentment. 3, self-criticism. Self-criticism has a negative connotation, right? You're self-criticizing. No. Self-criticism is a healthy mechanism to evaluate your performance. If you didn't have that mechanism, you could not learn. Now, when that self-evaluation mechanism starts to kind of, go overboard, then it starts to build a narrative such as, you're not good enough, you should do better, what's wrong with you? So it becomes very harsh onto this person. So if we catch ourselves, we need to recognize, okay, I'm not trying to eliminate the self-critical voice. I just want to make it healthy enough to tell me what needs to change here. But not so much to the point where it starts to be a harsh voice onto myself. Because that voice is the same voice that has an opinion about you, about God, about people, and about the world. If that harsh voice is harsh towards you, it's most likely also harsh towards everything else. One of the good ways to do this is just to recognize, number one, nothing's ever perfect. Will anything ever be perfect in your life? In somebody else's life? No one's ever going to be perfect. And number 4 is jealousy. Jealousy is a coping mechanism. You see, when we get born, we all have this sense of inadequacy. I'm small, I'm not good enough. Now, the way that we cover this is we find a way to kind of, cope with it. We say, I'm just gonna, distract myself, or I'm going to, be relatively good in my art or my craft. Now, while you're doing that, you meet somebody and they show incredible amount of talent, some talent that you value, it makes you uncomfortable. That coping mechanism that I've built around me to kind of suppress that voice of smallness, that coping mechanism is not loud enough because they're louder. In order to come back and feel safe as soon as possible, what do? I have to mentally cut them. I have to mentally reduce them. And now the problem with this, you say, so what? The problem with this is, to what are you jealous? Towards things that you value or you don't value? Towards things that you value. A soccer player is not going to be jealous towards a chess player, a good chess player. And a good chess player is not going to be jealous towards a great teacher. So you always value what you are jealous. But look at this now. I am jealous and I want to reduce them. So what are you telling your brain? On one hand, I value that, but on the other hand, I want to take you out of my life. I don't want to connect with you. So what kind of a split does this create in the brain? It makes you confused. Do I really value this? Instead of pushing them away, there was a great suggestion. It was in Swami Dayananda's book. He said, go up to the person and say, I really appreciate your talent, your art. Tell me more. How did you get to that place? That's the first step to tell yourself that you are at least willing to connect to what you value. The second thing is to recognize that their skill is also borrowed, just like your skill. Nothing really belongs to him or her, me or them. Another thing is to recognize that that jealousy simply lets me know they worked harder than I did. And I'm unwilling to admit it. They deserve their success because they worked harder. Let me use that as inspiration. They worked hard. They got their rightful success. Let me now go and just reassess what do I need to do to at least increase my, my value by 5%, whatever it is that you value. It lets you know, jealousy lets you know this really matters to me. It doesn't make you less just because you're not good at something as you could be. It doesn't make you any less. You are much bigger than your strengths and your weaknesses. So it's okay. It doesn't make you any less. Next, adroha, which is no thought of hurting. So imagine that somebody's going through a hard time, okay? And they're in the distance. And you're over here and going, they deserve it. They deserve it. What is that person saying, actually, to themselves? Are they saying, I deserve it. I deserve this suffering. Is that what they're saying? No. They're most likely saying, what did I do to deserve this, God? Now, if I'm thinking they deserve it, what does that say about how coherent am I with the reality? Not very much. Because as we talked about empathy, if I had the empathy, I will be able to understand what they're going through. And I'll be able to read that they're going through a hard time. So when it says no thought of hurting, rather than this mode of they deserve it, ha ha ha, he deserves it. It's easy to do this, I get it. But every time we do, you subtract your own humanity. And finally, nati manita, which is no exaggerated self-opinion. That means opinion about myself. It's not exaggerated. Suppose you gain this knowledge, and you gain wonderful knowledge or a wonderful skill. But then it says no exaggerated self-opinion. What it becomes distorted is we say, oh, I am special now. I've got this skill. The truth is, it was not yours to begin with. This skill was an art form created by many minds before us. They worked day and night. We just go and open a book, we borrow it, and then we claim, some kind of a status about it. There's no place for that. So no exaggerated self-opinion wants to say, let me have gratitude for our contributors. Let me have gratitude for the contributors, our teachers, our rishis, our social service workers, our community workers. Let me have gratitude because they are doing all of these things behind the scenes, which I unknowingly need for my own success. And while having a healthy self-opinion, it doesn't now mean letting other people step over your boundaries. So we need some boundaries. We need some boundaries. Look, I'm letting you, have your say, but I'm not also going to let you walk all over me. Today I just listened in the dating market, right? There's a thing going on, is that what is it called? Bumble or Tinder, right? I think both of them. A lot of young women are putting their profile pictures on, and they're getting likes, so many likes from men. So what is this telling them? It's telling them that I am highly desired. So now when they go to the real world, what do they have? An exaggerated self-opinion. So when a man walks up to them, they say, oh, no, you're not good enough because I've got all these guys who want me, who she's never met. And it's creating a huge problem in the dating market nowadays. Men are complaining, I can't find a wife because she's got these high standards that the social media has developed. The moment the woman hits 30, any guy would know, her dating pool goes from this to this. That's the truth. Women don't want to hear this, that's the truth.
Wait till after 50.
Yeah. So the question is, how do you set boundaries if someone's criticizing you and you told them once and they're still not following up? Okay, there's a consequence system. One has to, there's no real answer to this. There's a certain approach to do this by stating, look, this is what's important for me. This is disturbing me. I would appreciate it if, you're willing to listen to me. Are you willing to work with me on this? I really want to have a conversation here. Are you okay with this? No. Okay, well, I'm not willing to accept this, so we have to come with some resolution. Now, if they don't follow through, there has to be some consequence system that you've already put in place. And that consequence system has to be followed through. This is one way. The first step often is, the first thing is we sometimes just let it pass. But sometimes you have to be very firm. Wait, How many more times am I going to let this, pass through? It's like Arjuna. He lets on pass the Pandavas. Let the Kauravas just insult us. Let them just take our resources. Let them just, burn our house and then not say anything, not say anything, not say anything. And what did that do? It created an entire war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas because the good guys didn't do anything. They just kept letting go. Let go, let go. What? First of all, the dice, right? Cheating at dice game. Imagine I play a game with you, right? And you know that I'm cheating, but you don't say anything. No, it's okay, I'll let it go. Now I invite you to a home, and then you set that, and I set your home on fire, right? And you get away and you don't do anything. Do you think I'm going to change? You're only giving me permission to do it one more time. So you're not giving me a favor and you're not giving yourself a favor. So boundaries means what values, what do I stand for? That situation is not supporting what I stand for. And it's interrupting, it's distracting me what I stand for. I need to verbalize that very articulately. If it's not followed through, then you need to think about a follow-up system. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.